world is a weird place.
Very.
It really is. Do you want to hear a weird fact about Iceland?
Absolutely.
Iceland has an elf whisperer who inspects construction sites before anything gets built to make sure no elves are hanging around.
Yeah, so funny enough, I believe it's Iceland where they train you to be an elf spotter. You can actually get a legit certificate of it. You pay a bunch of money and they go and they basically just take your money and fuck off with it, really. Yeah. It's a legit thing in Iceland. Well, my boobs kind of hurt.
Why do your boobs hurt?
Been working out, getting swole, hitting a Slim Jim. I don't know. I wish I could do Muscle Man Randy Savage. That'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Bonesaw is ready. Man, I sound like an old man trying to do that.
Okay, guys, you now have your certificate.
Oh no! Do we have our certificate? Is it a? Oh god! Do I even want to see what this looks like?
It just looks like a freaking certificate that you'd get for winning a spelling bee in elementary school.
Yeah, Bachelor of Elf Spotting. Put that on your resume. See if you can get the job anywhere.
I'm doing it. I can spot elves in Iceland. You're hired.
Yeah, but you will never be able to say a single word in Icelandic, let me tell you.
Oh, I could just imagine it. The boss turns out to be a midget in a chair and then you're like, an elf.
He starts, he sees on your resume that it says elf spotter and he starts sweating profusely. He's like, oh shit.
So, you can spot elves, huh?
And run! Santa's after us!
And he points his finger at, look here, you little shit. You're not going to tell anybody anything that you saw today. We'll hire you. We'll pay you. You never have to come to work. You don't tell anybody about this.
Trying to remember.
Why do we live on a world where it's
Mr. Tinkles, I brought you your hot cocoa. Ooh, hot cocoa. Okay. I don't know where that went. That was weird.
I'm trying to remember. There's a band. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Sigur Rós or something like that. And they created their own language that they sing in called Hopelandic.
Well, I mean, that's what Nira Thomason did too. Theirs is a derivative of French and German.
This is like a cross between English and Icelandic, but it doesn't really mean anything. Essentially, he just sings a bunch of gibberish in the songs, and it's supposed to be the meaning is interpreted based off of whoever's listening to it, kind of thing.
It would just sound like Icelandic to me. I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I can't pronounce it anyways. I mean, I'm English. The only thing that matters is English. Beer, bacon, gods, and guns in America. Freedom! We are free to die from the lack of free healthcare.
For $400, you can become a criminal investigator for an extra $50. They'll throw in a lab coat.
What are you searching? Is this in Scotland?
No. If it was, I wouldn't say bucks.
I don't know. Maybe you guys like working bucks over there. You guys trade deer? Antlers?
No.
What is your bartering system?
Pounds.
So you guys lose weight and then you get money for it?
Oh god, I wish that was true. If it was, I'd be a skinny bitch.
And tonight, Logan is our biggest loser.
Okay, how can I become an ordained minister?
Trying to remember. There it is.
Trying to remember what the intro is?
No. The
What are you looking up?
the Republic of Molossia.
Malaysia?
No, Molossia.
Where is that?
If this is the place that I'm thinking it is, it's a republic of like land that's not owned by the United States that exists in the United States. It's like a single acre of land. I don't think this is the right place. It might be the right place. Maybe it's not.
Guys, I'm not an ordained minister.
Location: Western USA, state of Nevada. There's 11.3 acres of land that's not owned by America and is dubbed the Republic of Molossia. And the reason why I started thinking about this is because I'm pretty sure they have like a naval academy or whatever on their website. And then you can actually sign up to become a naval officer in their Republic service.
Sounds like I'm in the wrong business.
So we're just gonna like ignore the fact that I just became an ordained minister.
Yeah, we are, because I don't believe that that's legit. You can be a knight of sea land.
Yeah. This is a completely landlocked nation, by the way. So you can
You can become a Pokemon professor.
Naval officer of a landlocked nation in the middle of the United States. So you can enroll and then you can print off a certificate of completion for $2.
I'm upset that you guys don't believe me that I just became an ordained minister.
Excuse me?
My dad's an ordained minister. I think that it's a little more difficult than that.
I have the certificate to prove it.
You can't become an ordained minister in one day. I don't think that that's the thing.
Well, I haven't had sex in a year. Does that count?
You're on your way to wizardhood.
No, that's if you're a virgin by the age of like 30.
Oh, that's right.
Well, welcome to the Joysticks and Lunatics podcast. I am starting this so I can end my own suffering.
That's fair.
Anyways, I am OverpoweredPeaches. I am one of your hosts.
I am BanjomanDudeGuy. I'm host number 2.
Host number 2, you are not.
And I will marry any of you, the TheChubbyNerdLogan.
Yay!
Oh, great. Now he thinks he's an ordained minister.
He's got the certificate. Even though it straight up says, not official document.
There, I knew it.
Oh well, I can still pay for it and then get it.
Yeah, you can officiate my wedding.
Can you just do that? Can you just go on the internet and become an ordained minister and then legally be able to marry people?
Well, you also have to register. So you have to register in a particular state in order to officiate the wedding.
I want to do that.
So you have to register in a particular county.
I want to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not very difficult. Like Las Vegas does it all the time for a lot of their ridiculous weddings. So,
it'd be perfect. I would just post a sign in the road that just says "We'll marry for $20." But then that would probably be taken wrong.
That's how people get green cards.
Yeah, don't do that because that'll be taken wrong.
Yeah, that'd be bad. You know, being married to somebody is like having a chain connected to you.
I swear to God.
Oh, my elbow!
Okay, I take it all back. That was worth it.
What happened?
I hit my elbow.
Well, I knew that fucking much.
Yeah, we knew that after you said, "Ow, my elbow."
I hit it off the corner of my desk.
It's not like I'm gonna harm my own elbow and then yell out, "Ow, my penis."
I'm gonna pee.
At what age does your funny bone just stop being a thing?
I don't know.
I was gonna say the same thing about the penis.
I used to hit my funny bone on things all the fucking time, and I'd always get that shooting numbness through my arm, and that doesn't happen anymore. I don't know if you grow a tendon there or something, and it just stops happening after a while. Is that a thing?
I think it could just be old age for you.
It could just be old age. It could just be broken.
Well, how old are you at this point?
Me, 31.
I'm sorry.
So am I.
Well, okay. So you were mentioning chains. What game are we talking about today? So I guess that I assume that was going to be your segue.
I was trying, but it
sorry.
was terrible. It was a terrible one.
It really was. It's just like, I hope your wife doesn't listen to this podcast.
I'm really glad Logan whacked his elbow.
I hope the old ball and chain doesn't listen to this podcast.
Rob Schneider is in marriage with chains.
We're playing Astral Chain. That's what we're playing. Astral Chain. It's a game with chains. That's it.
Yeah, you just go about collecting chains to smash
you
people.
just collect chains. You find
So
key
much.
rings on the ground and you connect them together and you try to make the world's longest key ring chain.
Okay, you guys joke, but I can actually see this as a legit BDSM game on Itch.
Oh, dude, 100%. That's a game I want to play.
Time to
I'll
look
go
at
with that.
Steam.
Time to go to Steam. Keyword BDSM.
All right. Tell us about this game.
Okay. After I finish dying here, sorry about that.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Astral Chain was developed by
Look, man, the
Platinum
game
Games.
wasn't that bad.
And no, it's a good game. It's a good game.
Tell us about Astral Chain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Focus.
All right. Back on the rails here. Astral Chain is a game that God damn it.
Yeah,
Yep.
come on, man. You got to
Yep,
keep
sorry.
throwing coal
Okay.
on this fire.
Astral Chain is a game for the Nintendo Switch. It was developed by Platinum Games and published by, surprise, Nintendo. It was released back in August of 2019, and it is a action adventure hack and slash game. It's mostly single player, does offer some local multiplayer for playing with your friends if you have them.
Well, it's too bad it's not like online multiplayer like God Eater 3 was.
Oh, I know. It would be so cool. Just if you could like go into an online thing, like a little room, and you can create your party of all of the Legionuses for the Neuron Special Police Force kind of thing. Then you can go in and fight giant boss battles and everything together. That'd be so fucking rad.
That would be. Like, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't do that with it.
I don't know why they didn't. Oh man, I don't know how the game ends.
They kept
but
it just strictly local multiplayer only.
yeah, as far as I know, it just says local multiplayer. You can go into your menu when you're playing the game, and you can start up multiplayer, and then it gives you the control layout for the joysticks. So if you're
Yeah.
holding the joystick sideways, it doesn't show anything for pro controllers. I don't know if you can do it with pro controllers. You might have to do it just with the joysticks, the Joy-Cons.
Sorry.
Which is, I mean, honestly, it was a great idea for the Nintendo Switch initially, having the Joy-Cons and everything, but using them for 2-player games it sucks, man. They're so small, and I got small hands, but even if I have small hands, they're still small.
Yeah.
They're so small.
That's why I got one of the pro controllers to play games like that, and Breath of the Wild too. Like, it made me want to rip my hair out trying to play Breath of the Wild on those 2 Joy-Cons.
Oh, for sure.
So
Try playing Smash Bros with one of them.
yeah, I definitely want to smash a bro after using one of those. Okay, we'll keep rolling here then.
Okay. So in Astral Chain, the player takes on the role of a detective for the Neuron Special Police Force, and you are tasked with solving cases, investigating incidences and crimes that take place on this artificial island called the Ark, which houses all of the remnants of humanity, because humanity is on the brink of extinction. And the reason why is because there is another dimension, a parallel dimension known as the Astral Plane, where these asshole creatures called the Chimeras rip open gates to our dimension, and they come in through there and they just fuck shit up and steal people and take them into their dimension, kidnapping people. And the biggest issue with these guys is they're invisible to like all of humanity. And the only way to fight that is that you get your own chimera. So the player gets a legion, as it were, is what they're called. It's essentially a chimera that had been captured from the astral plane and now lives in solitude, connected to you by a chain, and you use it in battles and stuff. And because of the psychic link that you share with this chimera, you're able to see the other chimeras and therefore effectively fight them. So this whole neuron force is a very special task force for the police force that deals with these type of extraordinary cases that the police can't handle.
Yeah, so there is a distinction between the normal, regular police force that deals with the everyday needs of citizens, and then there's the special police force that takes care of all the chimeras and the legions that have not been captured yet.
Yeah. And apparently this is in our future because the game takes place in the year 2078.
Okay. I might be dead at that point. We'll see.
I will most certainly be dead at that point.
I'll be about 80 years old, maybe 90.
So that's because Cyberpunk 2077 was a massive failure. So
what?
So in the year of 2077, all the cybernetic enhancements that take place in Cyberpunk lead to humans' demise, and then
it's just like all connected.
And then these creatures come in, seeing the weakness in humanity, start slaying all of humans, and then it leads into this.
That makes sense.
But that's just a theory, a game theory. Okay.
Okay, so after you get this chimera and you can fight off these things, you have like the whole task force. So at the beginning of the game, you get to choose who you want to be. There's a boy and a girl, and you get to choose which one, if you want to be male or female. And then after that, the other character that you didn't choose is introduced into the game as your twin sibling named Akira. So whether you're a boy or a girl, the other twin will always be named Akira. And I think that was obviously done for voice acting purposes, so they didn't have to try filling in the blank with two different names. But
yeah,
you're both on the police force, and you both get your own legions, and you get recruited into this system. This special task force in which you undergo training and everything to figure out how to use this legion in combat. So not only do you use this thing in combat so that you're basically controlling your main character and semi-controlling the legion, it kind of attacks on its own, but you can move it around on the battlefield, and you can, because you're connected by a chain, you can do certain combos and stuff. Like you can wrap your chain around enemies and stun them, or if enemies are charging at you, you can basically like use the chain to stop them and throw them back in between you and your legion. But it also does a lot of stuff to help you in your investigations. So that's like the main part of the game isn't so much focusing on fighting, although the fighting is pretty badass. You have to solve cases. So you're not just a fighter, you're also an investigator, like a detective. And you go onto these missions and you have to investigate. Sorry. You have to question NPCs, you have to like find evidence and analyze clues and solve puzzles and stuff to try to put together all these pieces to figure out what it is that you're dealing with. And then it ultimately leads into, hey, it's a chimera, you have to fight this chimera kind of thing. So in the battling, like at the very beginning, you find out like, oh, you don't go into the portals, you don't go into the gates, you don't go into their dimension because we don't know anything about their dimension. You fight them when they come here. But then the very first mission, you get pulled into that dimension in which you fight them in the dimension. And it seems like every time you fight them, it's in that dimension. It's fucking weird.
So another thing that you mentioned was questioning civilians. And a part of that is you collect special significant words from them. And then near the end of that segment, before you fight a chimera or go into the astral plane, typically you will be questioned either by your partner or maybe a higher authority for you to give them the story of what happened. And you have to select the right words, and you'll listen for those they're supposed to be audio cues, but obviously it's like written words on the screen, and you'll focus on kind of in particular things that they say, and you'll look for the words that you have collected in order to sort of solve that, word puzzle is what you're looking for.
With that gimmick, it's kind of like LA Noir in a way.
Just less complicated. I think LA Noir had a
lot
lot
more
elements.
complicated.
They had a lot more elements surrounding that. You had to pay attention to their facial expressions and, kind of make a guess on whether or not they're lying. So
It's also very reminiscent of Danganronpa, because in that game, somebody murders somebody and then you go into a trial after you search around for evidence. And then when you collect the evidence, it basically becomes keywords. And then when somebody is pleading, not guilty or whatever, you use those keywords as your evidence to basically tear their case apart. So it's very, very similar in that where you collect words through evidence and then you use those words to fill in the blank to tell the story of what exactly it is that happened.
Yeah.
But it ultimately isn't that important, really. Like, even if you get the thing wrong, they'll just say, no, that's not correct. It was this. And then you have to try to figure out what the next keyword is. But if you do it all right, then you get bonus currency for the game and you get like experience for ranking up your character kind of thing. So not all is lost if you don't solve the case, right? If you're not paying attention.
Get the wrong guy, completely execute him. It's like, that's not right, but try again, little buddy. That's pretty awful.
But
okay, sorry.
it's good though. I mean, it's not completely like the whole base of it. The investigating isn't super important, but it is essential. Like, you have to do it in order to progress the story. Because like I said, that's what you are. You're an investigator, you're a detective. But after shit goes down, in the astral plane, when you first get pulled in the astral plane, you fight a big boss, and then the rest of your team shows up. And your team is comprised of a couple other individuals, your twin, and your dad, who happens to be the commanding officer in this Neuron Special Task Force. And at this, they all have different chimeras that all have different abilities that are linked to them. But after some shit goes sour, all of your legions get disconnected from you and you have to fight them. So you have to fight the Sword Legion, which is the first one you have, and you have to recapture it. But nobody else on your team is able to recapture their legions, and they just kind of scatter to the wind kind of thing. That gives you the option, well, not the option, but later on throughout the game, you encounter them again, and then you get to recapture them. And once you recapture them, you can switch on the fly between them, and they all have different abilities that allow you to progress the game. So some of them help different ways of solving cases and stuff, and they have different abilities. Or they like the second one you get, for instance, is the arrow guy, and he can attack targets from far away and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool to kind of switch between them in your battles, so you have different advantages, I guess. But ultimately, as the game progresses, you end up collecting all of them, and you become like the sole person in the game that is the only one that has a legion, the only one that can save humanity. No pressure or anything. It's ultimately the case.
And then, what was the rating and reception for this game? What score did it get?
Logan, take it away.
What? I don't even know the rating. I was actually gonna mention that there was like a lot of fucking petitions for it to be on PS4 as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually found it weird because, like, I think it was actually announced for PS4 as well, but it could have been like cut during production. I'm not really sure because there's just a lot of fucking forums saying like, if push comes to shove, will it come to the PS4? It's too early to say. And like, these are like, forums from 2020, and this game came out in 2019.
That's the problem, is that the game was originally pitched to Nintendo. So the development of the game had undergone like a 5-year development. And they pitched the game to Nintendo after the company requested the development of a new game with high difficulty. And then of course, Nintendo decided, yeah, we'll definitely publish this game. We're going to fund this game. We're going to release it as a exclusive on the Nintendo Switch. And Nintendo is very protective of their IPs. So when it was asked with the possibility of it becoming available on multiple platforms, he mentioned it's too early to say because it's Nintendo's call. The company can't say, hey, we plan on releasing this to PS4 because Nintendo published it. Chances are, in the negotiation of Nintendo publishing it, Nintendo probably requested the IP. So any games at this point, it's whether or not Nintendo wants to sell that IP back to the company. So if the company doesn't own the IP and Nintendo does, they can make a game similar to Astral Chain. They can't call it Astral Chain, and they can release it onto other systems. But the name and the concept of the game is essentially owned by Nintendo through those negotiations. So it's whether or not Nintendo wants to give that back to the company. So the company would ultimately have to buy the IP back through negotiations with Nintendo, or Nintendo would have to sell it to another platform, another publisher. So like if Ubisoft or something or Electronic Arts were to gain that IP, then they can release it on multiple platforms. But Nintendo, they see no reason whatsoever to release it on multiple platforms. They're not going to release Mario or Zelda on the PS4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The devs got a lot of fucking hate mail saying that they hate PS4 players and shit like that.
And that's ridiculous.
But if they did, they wouldn't have released Nier Automata on Xbox One and PS4.
So in terms of its score, that most everyone gave it was about an 8 out of 10. So, not Game of the Year material, but still people really liked this game. And from what it sounded like, they wanted it on even more systems than just Nintendo's exclusive, Nintendo Switch. But from what it sounds like, Nintendo surprisingly wasn't willing to kind of let this IP go and expand to other platforms.
Oh, heavens no. As of March 2020, the game has sold over 1 million copies worldwide.
Wow.
And with, Nintendo being the publisher, they're reaping the main rewards for that. So why give it the ability to be released on other platforms for another publisher to reap in those rewards, when they've already sold so many? And the game received, like you said, like a very good reception, and it's actually been nominated for quite a few game awards.
Looks like Nintendo Game of the Year was nominated there.
Yeah, Nintendo Game of the Year was nominated in 2019.
Yeah, wow. I had no idea this game even existed.
Eurogamer gave it a 5 out of 5. That's actually really surprising.
It's pretty good. Nintendo Game of the Year in 2019 was actually awarded to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's like that Obama meme where they're like, Game of the Year to Nintendo. It's just like, Nintendo Game of the Year, they give it to Nintendo. It's like, what else are you going to do with it?
But yeah, it is a super, super fun game.
Yeah, and the music is beautiful.
Oh god, the music is so good. I love the music. You not a fan?
Passable.
Oh gosh.
I'm a slap you.
I'm sorry, I'm just critical. That's all it is.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's always good to have conflicting arguments.
Well, yeah, we probably have some sort of conflicting ideas here.
So I guess we could talk a little bit about the combat, because that seems to be the one thing that people seem to really enjoy, about this game is its combat.
Can I interrupt quickly?
Absolutely.
Hideki Kamiya has casually been live tweeting Platinum's next lineup completely unbothered, and I think he's the dev leader for Platinum Games. And this was earlier on August last year. He was just tweeting Bayonetta 3 and Astral Chain 2.
Oh, please let there be a number 2 on this game.
I'm not
talking about poo poo.
Bayonetta 3 got announced, didn't it? Like, it's coming out later on this year or next year.
Bayonetta 3? I have no idea. I've never played a Bayonetta game.
It's Devil May Cry, but with titties.
Alright.
That's all I can say.
Devil May Cry is better.
Yeah.
So we were going to talk about its combat.
Yeah.
Tell us about the combat system.
Okay. So the combat system of the game is, like I had mentioned earlier, you are basically controlling two players. But you're controlling your main character like 90% of the time, and you're controlling the Legion like 10% of the time. Because the Legion will automatically attack anything that's hostile in combat mode. So all you have to do is really push one button to command them, and it'll send your Legion right at them, and they'll auto attack. But then you can hold down that button, and you can manually move your Legion around to set it up to attack a different enemy, or to do certain types of attacks, like wrapping your chain around the enemies to stun them. But right after the first major boss, after everybody loses their legions and you get yours back and recaptured, you gain a bunch of new shit that you can do with your Legion, because your character becomes more like in sync with your Legion. And every now and then you'll see a blue flash come out of your Leganis, the device that's on your arm that is chained to your Legion. And if you push the button to command your Legion at the moment that that bright flash happens, you'll do these sync attacks, which do a lot of damage and set up other combos and stuff. So it gets pretty chaotic, and it's very fast paced. This hack and slash is pretty fast paced. On top of that, not only do you have your Legion, but you have a weapon that you can change. So it'll be like a normal baton, which has fast striking attacks, but it does low damage. You can also switch it to a pistol that can take out like flying or enemies that are far away. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it's pretty quick on the attack. And then you also get like a gladius, like a big hulking sword that deals a lot more damage, but it's kind of heavy. So it moves a lot slower, and it's better for fighting off chimeras that are a little slower and sluggish with their movements. So you can do more power damage. And it can also like break through shields and stuff. On top of that, your Legion also has other abilities that you can use in combat that are usable outside of combat. Like, for instance, your Sword Legion will have this slash ability that lets it slash through waves and stuff. So if anything that's connected by some type of wave connection, you can slice through it. So sometimes you'll fight enemies that have another enemy that's shielding it, but if you cut the line between the two enemies, it breaks the shield, allowing you to take them out. Also, some of the bigger enemies will telegraph their attacks. If you use your slash ability during those times they're telegraphing their attacks, you can basically cut their brain wavelength that's going to make them attack and stun them so that you can attack them so they don't do their attacks. And it's pretty cool. So you have a lot of different options in the game. You can also chain jump, where you can jump to your Legion and you can hit enemies as you're passing by at a fast pace. So the best thing about the combat in this is it's not just hit one button over and over and hope that, you win. There's a lot of stuff you can do in it, and it's a lot more interactive in that case. And it makes you think kind of on the fly and try to pay attention to where all of your enemies are at once, so you don't get gangbanged essentially by a bunch of smaller enemies. You can kind of pay attention, and you can leap yourself out of danger and move your Legion in. But you got to keep an eye on your Legion, because they have like a health, almost like a stamina bar. And while they're out, that is constantly being depleted. And every time they take hits, it gets even more depleted. And that only goes back up when your Legion is away. So you can dismiss your Legion and make it disappear. And while it's gone back in your Leganis, it'll start to heal. Its health will come back, and then you can bring it back out for more attacks. But unless you do like finisher attacks, certain enemies have the ability where you can finish them off with a finisher attack, and that will raise your Legion's health back up so they don't have to go away as quickly either. So you have to make sure you're paying attention to not only your player's health, but you're also paying attention to your Legion's health, because you don't want to get caught in a situation where you're not paying attention to your Legion's health, they disappear, you're not defended, and you get raffle stomped by a big fist man.
I will say that doesn't take very long to regenerate. So as soon as you dismiss your Legion, give it like maybe 5 seconds or something, and you can bring it back. But if you're in a pretty heated battle, having it gone for like 5 seconds and you're not prepared can be a really big problem.
Oh yeah, it can. And that's the best. Like, I loved the fights in this game, like battling the big enemies. There's something that feels really good, taking them out. But man, is it stressful. Because sometimes your Legion doesn't do what you want it to do, or you miss a sync attack and you get knocked off like flying in the middle of a combo, and you hit the wrong button and you pull your Legion away from the enemy, and then or you get knocked off the edge and you fall down. And every time you fall down, you'll cast your Legion out to automatically save yourself and go back up to the platform, but it takes like a monster amount of health every time you do that. So fighting can be kind of stressful at times if you're not paying attention to your surroundings.
You do have to be careful because you're able to move both your character and your Legion sort of independently, but you have a length of chain that you are allowed to take your Legion out to. The other problem is when you're fighting and you're trying to wrap something around, at times you almost have to stand still, and that leaves yourself wide open for any sort of attacks. If you can get used to moving both you and your Legion around, it's not all that bad. But at first, it's a little bit difficult.
It is, and especially when it opens up new abilities. But the best part is when you're in between missions and you're back at the headquarters, there's a training ground that you can go into, and it simulates combat, and it lets you practice your moves so you can get a little bit more acquainted with the new abilities that you unlock. And especially when you get the new legions on your team, it's always good to go to the training to figure out what their abilities are, what they can do, before you get stuck into a battle with a big monster with a bunch of small little sub monsters and you have no idea what you're doing. It's very helpful to have that training ground to test out all of your combat abilities.
Yeah, and I will say that this game sometimes it tells you to do something and expects you to do something, but I don't know if I had just missed it or if it just kind of expects you to figure it out on your own. But there were certain abilities where I just sort of had to trial and error it just to figure out what's done. And it's not bad maybe for the more simplistic mechanics, but when it comes to more complicated moves, it would be helpful to sort of have an understanding of how you're supposed to use the ability.
Oh, yeah, like a good example of that is when you fight the first other legion that you have to capture, the Arrow Legion. Because the playing field is a little different. It's split up amongst a bunch of small little islands that you have to chain jump to. So you send your legion out to the other side, and then you jump to your legion through your chain. Now, at times it'll send walls at you, and there's these pillars that are in between there that you're supposed to wrap your chain around and get your legion on the other side, and then avoid these walls that are coming at you by chain jumping around them using the pillar to spring around. Now, they give you the option, like right when you get that chain jump ability, they have you go to the training center. But all of the training in the game is optional. It's not a necessity. So you just have to go in there and do like your first primary one. And then after that, anytime they send you to the training thing, you can just opt out and say, no, I don't need to do any of that. And if you do that and you don't realize that that's in the training regiment, then you have no idea that that is something you're supposed to do when you're fighting the Arrow Legion and you panic.
Yeah.
So, like the first time I played the game, that's exactly what I did. I freaked out because I had no idea what I was doing. But then after I figured out that that was a thing that you can do, and defeating the Arrow Legion, I defeated him in like less than 2 minutes the second time around because I knew that that was a thing and I could just easily jump through anything and get around pretty quickly. Now, one of the things that I noticed with the chain jump when you're controlling the Legion, that you can't do any quick taps to try to align them right, because if you do, then it's like you're trying to send your Legion into an area and they rush out or they rush back, and sometimes it's really annoying when you're trying to get precise chain jumps and you tap it and you immediately try to chain jump, but your Legion jumps back to you and you fall off an edge because they're not on the platform anymore. And you want to smash your controller on the ground because you've done it 3 times in a row.
Something else I experienced with that was sometimes their perspective is a little off. I found myself fighting with the camera a whole lot. I sent my Legion over to do a chain jump, and I tried to do the chain jump, and I was too close to the wall on the left, but I didn't know that because the depth perception is still a little off. And so I hit the wall and fell down a hole, and it just put me right back to where I was and just tried to have me do it again. And that was kind of probably 90% of my experience with the chain jump, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. That happened all the time with me. You don't think that you're very close to an edge or an obstacle, and you go to chain jump, and your character just hits it, stops, and then falls. And you're like, why, though?
And there's no way to recover. Even though your what are they called again?
Legion?
They're legions. God damn it, I don't know why my brain fried on that. For some reason, your Legion is still there, and you should be able to chain jump to them, but it just won't let you do it. It's almost like you get one chance to get it right, and if not, you gotta fall, lose some health, and try again. Even though your Legion is still there, you're not able to chain jump to them as you're falling until you actually fall and they pull you right back up again.
Right. And that's only in the astral plane when they pull you back up. Because if you're running an investigation, you're trying to explore the land, like for instance, case 3, before you get the Arrow Legion, there's a couple of fire escapes that you can chain link jump to. And if you mess up, your character falls, you don't take falling damage, but you find yourself having to climb up all the stairs all over again, chain link to whatever area you're doing it again, and you have to do it all over again to try to find whatever secrets. And then you find a box and you open it up and it gives you one fucking field supply of mini medicine. And you're like, why did I waste 3 hours of my life trying to open this box? Sorry, I rant.
To find the secret. Well, I get what you're saying there. It's because, so in order to, chain jump to these scaffolding on sides of buildings and stuff, there's these conveniently sized holes in the guard railing for you to take your Legion over and chain jump there. But sometimes your character will hit that guard railing for no reason at all, and then you'll just fall and have to do the whole thing over again.
Exactly. Oh, it's infuriating because you have to be so precise, and you don't know how precise you have to be because the depth perception can be a little off.
Did any of yours experience a glitch during the first fight?
What glitch was that?
Okay, remember when you get stuck in basically a barrier, but your Legion can go through the barrier to destroy the crystals?
Yeah, so when you're fighting the first boss, he sets up a sort of a shield around you so he can get you in a couple hits, and you have to send your Legion out and hit these crystals that are on the side to bring down the shield.
Yes, but for some reason the Legion didn't always attack them.
Yeah, so that's probably because you did not send your Legion at it. You probably controlled your Legion out there, but sometimes the Legion needs a prompt in order to get it to work.
I looked onto it and it was just standing there doing nothing, and I died so many fucking times.
Well, the thing is, you probably could have just tapped the Legion button, and that would have automatically forced him to attack the target.
I was doing everything I can.
Yeah, that's the thing. I had the same thing where you can manually move your Legion, and you move it right next to the crystal, but it won't attack it. You actually have to launch your Legion at it by tapping the button in order for it to work.
Even when I was doing the attack button, I was always hitting the fucking force field with my guy, so it just be constant.
That is the most annoying thing because it slowly shrinks, and then once it gets around you, if you don't break those crystals, it does a lot of damage to you.
Yeah, you lose a life and then you lose a heart.
Yeah. It gets pretty infuriating at times.
So, what else do you got on the combat?
That's essentially it. I mean, to aid in combat, you can you get these material codes that you find in supply crates and just winning cases and stuff like that. And you use that to upgrade your weapon that you have, like your baton, so it can do more damage. You can upgrade your Leganis, which increases the health of your Legion so that they can stay out longer. It also increases their attack power and stuff. And then you can also, there's also a skill tree for your Legion. So there's certain things that you can do with code and everything that you get. You unlock a certain amount of this code completing case files and stuff, and you can expend those points to unlock certain abilities on your legions so that you can increase both its attack power and your attack power, or its defense and stuff, and you can just make them more beefy boys. So that helps out. So when you're battling, if you go back to your old cases, because you can replay missions and stuff, you can just raffle stomp the enemies after you've upgraded all of your stuff, because you do so much more damage and you take so much little damage from them because of it.
Plus, this game wants you to have a lot of replay value.
Yeah, it does, for sure, because you'll play like the first couple missions in the game and there will be certain things that you find, because you have this visual display called the iris, which highlights certain things in the level that can be interacted with. And some things require a certain legion to interact with them, but you don't unlock that legion till further cases. So they want you to replay those missions to unlock other secrets by bringing in the legions that you unlock later in the game into earlier missions so that you can interact with the things in the environment.
So what was your experience with this game, Banjo? Sounds like you really, really enjoyed it.
Oh, I had a very positive time with this game. There were times where things got a little sluggish with the investigations, especially after you find out that the investigations aren't really all that important, but they're like a main staple in the game. And I get that. But sometimes I just want to get into the fighting action, because the battles are really the one thing that I find the most enjoyable in the game. But it's not that bad. Trying to solve these missions and doing these little side quests in the game to help out people is kind of cool and whatnot, but my main focus lied on the combat. So anytime I was in combat, I was just in euphoria, man. I was having the time of my life, and I was like getting antsy doing all of the investigating and stuff like that, because I just wanted to have a fight with like some big baddie already. But all in all, is really fun. I really enjoy the story. As far as I gotten into the story, there were a few things that I really want to find out. So they led up to certain things, that you're obviously not going to find out until later on in the game. And I really want to play more of this game. I'm going to complete this game 100% because I absolutely am in love with the combat. I am really liking the story. The visuals are beautiful for it being a Nintendo Switch game. And I'm not saying that the Nintendo Switch isn't capable of beautiful games. I mean, Breath of the Wild is gorgeous, but it is a very beautiful game. The legions and the chimeras are really well designed. I think they all look super cool. And the combat, I can talk about the combat all day, man. I love it. It's fantastic. So I've had a very good experience with this game. I really recommend it to anybody that has a Nintendo Switch that's looking for a very fast-paced, kind of high difficult hack and slash game. And even if somebody's not even interested in the hack and slash, there is a difficulty setting that basically takes care of combat completely for you, so you can just focus on the story. So if you're not really interested in the combat or anything, and you like the investigating and stuff and being a detective and just want to know more about the story, you can basically just say fuck off to the combat and make the game do it itself. But that clearly wasn't something that I was interested in.
So out of 10, what would you rate this game?
Out of 10, I'd give it an 8.
Okay.
Pretty solid 8 on my own opinion, because like I said, that there's so much good about the game. There are moments that are kind of hit and miss, but all in all, my experience was really up high on this game. I really enjoyed this game over a lot of other games that we've played.
So Logan,
Yeah.
you and Banjo really, really, really wanted me to play this game. You guys were talking about it for the longest time. What would you say your experience was of this game?
Well,
That's about right.
Shut up.
you
I would.
you have a monster and you're yawning over there?
Well,
Not a
correction.
monster, a rock star.
Oh, yeah. But caffeine doesn't really work on me.
This podcast sponsored by Rockstar.
Oh, I wish I was sponsored by Volvic.
Fuck you, it's monstered by Monster. It's monstered by Monster. Jeez, I'm going to bed.
It's monstered by Rockstar.
Okay, yeah. There's not much I could actually say without like, spoilers and shit. But I did thoroughly enjoy the game of what I have played so far. Thus, I will just give a quick opinion. It's a really good game. The music is brilliant. The design is brilliant. It's almost near beautifully perfect, but the only nitpick I have for it is I wish it was more open world than just being stuck to the cases, the region of the cases, the astral plane, and the police headquarters. If it was a bit more open world, it would have been amazing.
Right.
I agree with that. I mean, the cases and everything that you had, they did offer a little bit of exploration, but it would have been nicer if it was a little bit more of an open area, or even if it granted access to certain areas that it doesn't, certain dark alleys that you can kind of go around and find more secrets and stuff. There are a few secrets that you can find in the game, but the exploring is kind of limited.
Yeah. Peaches?
So, what would you say out of 10? What would you rate this game?
7.5.
7.5 out of 10. Good enough. Okay, so my experience with the game was I absolutely trashed it when I first started, and I sort of grew into loving it because the combat was novel. It was interesting. It's something that I really haven't seen all that much of before, where you control a separate character from your own, and almost like it does majority of the attacking. You're more of the strategist. You can allow your legion to get out there and take most of the hits, and you just stay back. You either shoot or you dodge, especially when you're facing off against multiple other chimeras. Now, I do agree completely with Logan on this one that it would have been nice to do a bit of exploring instead of what felt like a lot of stop and go. If anybody knows me, a big pet peeve of mine is stopping the forward momentum of a game just to do some sort of meaningless bullshit. And there are some games that are like this, especially from the very beginning. It's setting everything up, so it kind of has you do these little go and talk to this person or go and talk to this person sort of quests that it wants you to do, especially in the headquarters where you're walking around and Banjo's favorite character pops up, which is Lappy.
Yeah.
And Lappy is telling you all about the headquarters and everything. And even though you've already seen the headquarters, you already know what's what, it still has you go around and looking at these different sections of the headquarters, and they explain almost again to you what they do. So issues like that I had a really big problem with, because that just, to me, just it's not all that much fun. But when I actually got into the astral plane, I was running around, I was fighting other chimeras, I was solving puzzles. There are some puzzles where they require you to control your legion and go over to another button. There are some puzzles that require you to kind of think out of the box. They don't just give you the answer right away. It's not like just hit a switch with an arrow and suddenly the door opens. They actually require you to do a little bit of thinking on how to solve the puzzle. That was fun and entertaining to me. That felt like I was doing something. And if the game was more of that, I probably wouldn't be as kind of critical as I am about it. The other issue that I had was, while it being very novel for you to move around your own chimera, it felt a little clunky, to where I was constantly fighting with the camera, trying to focus on fighting or an enemy, and I would get hit because I didn't see an enemy that was behind me, but it was because I was controlling my Legion, and when you do that, the camera will change to follow the Legion instead of following you. So switching back and forth, it did discombobulate me a little bit from time to time, and that was frustrating when I was fighting. But overall, I would say that my experience with this game was positive. I did have problems with it starting out, but as I played more and more, I actually enjoyed myself. If it didn't focus so heavily on things that I don't feel were necessary, then it would have been a better sort of experience for me. Overall, I'd give this game probably a 6.5 out of 10. I still enjoyed myself, and I'll still finish it, but there were just some things, at least starting out, that might have turned me off a little bit.
Yeah, like you threatening your Switch that you're going to snap it.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to snap it in half because I'm trying to make these chain jumps, and I keep falling and losing health and having to do it all over again. Frustrating, really. But when I got into the gameplay of it, like, I love the idea of wrapping the chain around an enemy and stunning them for a little bit and then fighting them that way. Or the what were they? Are they hers? Are they curs? I can't remember the name of the enemy, but they provide a shield for other chimeras that are in the area. And what you have to do is you have to use a special ability where you bring your Legion back to you and have them do sort of a slash attack where you control them as they do it. So it's just an interesting, very novel way of fighting things that kept my attention.
My favorite part of the game was finding all of the toilets in all of the levels, and then finding all the makeshift stuff that you can use as toilet paper, then delivering them to the toilet ghosts in the headquarters.
Oh, I laughed at that. I laughed so hard at that.
I did not realize because I did not pay enough attention to that in order to care.
If you go into the bathroom of the headquarters and you use the toilet, you find something, like you find like paper or whatever that you can use for toilet paper, and then there's an occupied stall in the bathroom where there's somebody in there that claims that they're a toilet fairy and that they need stuff for toilet paper in order to cleanse the toilet. And as you go through the levels, you can find toilets, like outhouses and stuff, hidden in the level, where if you use the toilet, you'll acquire an item like a tarp or loose leaves or something, and then you can bring them to the fairy to fix the toilet, and they give you like items and stuff that you can use in combat.
You never use a tarp to wipe.
Apparently you do in this game.
What the hell is a tarp?
Don't. Almost like a giant sheet of plastic. So, no. You don't even use leaves. Use moss. Moss is where it at. Doesn't anybody know anything about survival?
Tarp is the thing that you use to make tents
and
with?
You can also use rocks, but that's less good.
Yeah, but why would you use what? Rocks to wipe your ass or rocks to make tents?
But rocks actually do a whole lot, especially for the moisture down there.
My asshole's clenching thing about rubbing a stone.
Just don't shove rocks up your asshole. That's all you need to know.
But I want to make a grenade.
Man with a plan.
A man with a plan. His name was Stan, and he ate some flan. And then he killed a man named Dan. That was part of his plan. His flan plan.
He was kind of bland.
He was kind of bland. And then he went to prison, and he met a man.
And he said, "Hey, can you help me dig this hole?"
Yeah, I would like to get out of here, please. Here's a spoon.
Now, Andy was a smart man. Logan, have you seen Shawshank Redemption?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, you're not as uncultured as I took you to be when you were with
What the hell is that supposed to mean? Like,
Man, I think that he would have had a better time if I kicked him in the nuts. Jeez.
like first, Amy tried to describe to me what an Oreo was, thinking that they weren't a thing over here. Now you're calling me like uncivilized.
I said uncultured, not uncivilized.
Okay, uncultured. What am I? A fucking monkey to you people?
You uncultured, non-Oreo eating.
Get out to the mic 3.
That's our.
Oh, that was terrible.
That's our
That
Scottish
was terrible.
insult.
Don't even fucking. That was awful. I am walking away from that. That was terrible. I would kick myself in the nuts for that.
Then do it.
What's the next game we're gonna play? We're playing Minecraft Dungeons.
Yes, because Logan finally has a computer and he can play on the Xbox Game Pass with us.
Couldn't you have just gotten it on the Xbox and then played like split or cross-platform? Is it cross-platform?
We tried that, but it was not cross-platform whenever we tried to do that.
Okay.
So, most disappointing thing ever.
Yeah, we have to play like one dungeon crawler a month to like keep Banjo happy.
Yes, you do. This is the best.
We'll play a nice game in the next round.
Oh, hey.
Okay. So, what is it about this game? It's just Minecraft or what?
Minecraft meets Diablo.
Yeah, essentially.
Steve just takes a big old shit on El Diablo, huh?
Probably.
Probably.
Oh no, we don't know. We're just talking about gaming podcasts or something like that.
I don't even know why they came up with it. I think they just like seen Diablo, like, oh, I want that for Minecraft, but do you want it first person view? No, I want it bird's eye view.
Honestly, that's probably it.
That would have been actually pretty cool. Is it to be an adventure through a first-person view, like Minecraft does, but you don't build anything. It's instead almost just an adventure, but in Minecraft instead of bird's eye.
That'd be all right. But like Logan said, I have no idea why they slapped Minecraft on this. Why did they make a dungeon crawler game that was based off of Minecraft? Like, I get that Minecraft is all like exploratory and you go down into caves and stuff as you dig holes and whatnot. But as far as I've played this game, I played it a little bit, and there is no crafting, there's no mining, there's no building. It's literally just Minecraft-esque graphics and enemies, and you just run around with weapons and you shoot them and you fight them with swords and kill them. There's like
Minecraft themed Diablo.
Yes, 100%.
Apparently there's a Doom mod for it.
Oh no.
Oh no.
That'll be pretty cool. Do you get Isabel?
I wish.
That'd be funny if somebody modded Doom just to be like Isabel from Animal Crossing. I would pay so much for that.
I would play that.
There is probably a mod of that out there, like Doom Guy and Animal Crossing, and then Isabel and Doom.
I'm surprised Nintendo doesn't take it up on that, but they're a pretty exclusive sort of company, so they don't always like to share their IP.
Yeah, like Fall Guys is trying to get people back in there by releasing Doom Guy costumes.
Oh yeah. That was the big thing. It was a question of whether or not they could actually get players to return to the game itself.
It's a dead game now. It's a dead game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gimmick game. Everybody plays it for a while.
That.
I mean, they should be sitting on some decent chunk of money from all the people that bought the game initially, but I get it's the same thing. Run an obstacle course, be the last guy.
Yeah, but when it first came out, it was free for PlayStation users.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
I had no idea.
It was free on the PlayStation Store, but we are talking about Minecraft Dungeons here. Yeah. So what can we expect with this game?
Okay, so the way I see it is the only reason I can think that they put Minecraft on it because it's a very simple dungeon crawler game. It's not like Diablo where you get to pick your class or your race and stuff, and you have all your abilities, your spells and stuff like that are all based on whatever you choose. In this game, there is no class system. You can use any weapon and armor that you wish in the game, and I feel like the reason why they made it Minecraft themed was because, I mean, not to knock the game because it's probably decent. We will find out once we play more of it. But it's almost like a baby's first dungeon crawler. You know, like not. I'm not trying to be mean or anything.
That is such a great description of
I'm
it, though.
not trying
Baby's
to be mean.
first dungeon crawler. Can we have that as a book, please? Like a baby's fantasy book. Baby's first dungeon crawler. I love that.
Apparently, that's already a game.
I feel like that's the only reason
Oh,
they made it
no.
Minecraft, because Minecraft is very popular among the young audience, you know, and they probably wanted to try to have this introduction to different genres of games by throwing Minecraft on it because they know, you know, it's an established IP, it's going to sell. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it gives people a different take on things. It allows people to try, you know, younger audience to try a different type of game style. And I'm not opposed to that. I think that's fantastic. But I feel like that's the only reason why it's Minecraft Dungeons and has like the Minecraft enemies and everything in there is because it's familiar territory to a lot of younger gamers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we tried to play a little bit of this before, but we weren't able to all play together. And that's kind of what we plan to do. We plan on all playing, all three of us trying to play this together and seeing what's that like, you know, with the multiplayer. But it is not cross-platform, like we said before. So
Right.
I do not think that there's any plans for it to be cross-platform either.
Probably not. I mean, it's been released for a lot of things. I mean, it's on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Windows, Xbox One, and it's a bummer that it's part of the Xbox Game Pass for Windows, yet it's not cross-platform enough to be able to play with the Xbox users. That seems a little off. That's a bit of a bummer. So I don't know if there is any differences. Like maybe because certain features that are available for the Windows version aren't features available for the Xbox version, and maybe that's why it's not cross-platform. Maybe you can unlock certain items or whatever in the game that are native to whatever platform you're playing on. I don't know.
Well, that is the way it was with Minecraft. I believe at first, I do not know if it's cross-platform right now, but when it first came out, you were not able to play with the PC user because the PC was much further along than the Xbox version was.
Okay. It's very possible with the same thing with this one.
Yeah, I think the only cross-platform version there is Minecraft Bedrock Edition.
But I mean, all in all, I liked the game for as much as I played it on the Switch. But I didn't, of course, get to play with anybody. Even though it has local multiplayer, I didn't have anybody that to play with at the time. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how good the game can be when all of us get together and play together. And I'm interested to see what kind of weapons that we'll use, who will use like bows, who will use swords kind of thing, and different playstyles that we'll take on as we progress through the game. I think that'll be a lot of fun to see how well we complement, I guess, each other's playstyles in a game like this.
So what are our predictions for this game?
Pain.
Pain. That's it. That's the end of the predictions segment.
Pain.
I take it somebody here doesn't like dungeon crawlers.
No, it's just because, like, I tried to play it before, like, the start of it. I just could not get into it for the life of me.
Yeah. Well, maybe with 3 people there, we'll have a grand old time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He sounds so excited.
He does.
I'm just tired. Leave me alone.
That's fair. I guess with that is ultimately our predictions for the game. So look forward to that gem. That'll be released in a week. And I guess that'll about wrap it up for this one. And yeah, so
Scottish insult.
good stuff. Thank you all so much for thank you all so much for listening. This has been a lot of fun. We really enjoyed the game that we played this week, and hopefully we'll have at least a fraction of the enjoyment that we had this week on the next game.
Here's hoping.
Here's hoping. You can if you guys like this, if you guys want to follow us on our Twitter, check out our YouTube page for any additional videos that we may post that deal with the podcast or all of us playing games or anything like that. You can find links to all that on our website at joysticksandlunatics.com. You can also find links to all of our individual social media accounts that we have posted on there, such as our YouTube channels and our Twitter accounts. But if you want to just follow our Twitters specifically, there is the Joysticks and Lunatics official Twitter, which is at JoystickLoons, LOONS. And you can find mine at BanjomanDudeGuy.
You can find mine at OverpoweredPeach.
And I am at TheChubbyNerd1.
And be sure to go check out TheChubbyNerdLogan on Twitch, where he streams all sorts of games. He just completed a couple of series, and he'll be starting up some new ones here pretty soon. He's a good boy.
I feel bad.
And with that, what is our Scottish insult? Well, okay, so you were just saying that you wanted to change the Scottish insult more to Scottish word of the week, right?
Yeah, like a Scottish insult word instead of
All right.
people trying to remember the phrase. They can just remember the word and the meaning. So this week's word is cunt puddle. CUNTPUDDLE. Cunt
I
puddle.
wonder what this one means.
An unfailing bastard similar to Wankstein, aka a waste of space.
I like that one. A cunt puddle. You cunt puddle.
Yeah, I won't be able to use that word, that phrase.
Yeah,
Well-
because you Americans find cunt offensive.
Yeah, it's like the most offensive word. Like, you can call somebody like a bitch all day long, but the moment you call them a cunt, then it's like, oh, it's time to throw hands. I don't get it.
But why? I don't understand. It's just a word. There's no
It's
hate
just
behind
America. Leave it alone. Don't worry about it.
it. Yeah, you're just a bunch of angry thunder cunts.
Dude, I agree. Like, I don't understand the whole concept of cursing. They're just words. Words are just sounds. It's just
Yeah,
frequencies.
Do we have any spam mail?
Hold on, let me check.
I don't know what is up. Like, I don't know if Google has updated their spam filter or what, but I have not been receiving any spam mail for like any of my accounts for like the last month and a half. And I'm okay with this.
I'm not. Yeah, here's one. I seem to get like these weird ass porn bots like in my spam mail. I don't understand.
Those are the best.
They know you're a thirsty boy.
Yeah, but why is it my business email? Hi there, my sissy is empty. My heart calls out for you. Maybe we can fool around. You can refuse my offer, but it will be a mistake. Make me and you just saying yes. What?
You expect porn bots to be able to spell? Oh, how naive that is.
My brain just went. Wait. Hey, baby, I hope you're not shy, because I'm dying to swap sexy pics with you. You might need a little encouragement, so I'll start viewing my pics here. Just tell me what you want me to take off next.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it's not going to be a fucking virus.
The only thing I want you to take off next is my email from your spam list. Nothing sexier you can
Take
do.
that completely off, baby.
At this point, I just worried whoever signs me up for this shit, because my business email is only on my Instagram. Like, is it the porn bots trying to reach out to me?
It's a call for help.
I'm gonna need fucking help soon.
We need daddy's comes or we will die.
Oh my god.
And that's the end of the episode.
With that, we will end the podcast there. Thank you all so much for listening.
Thank you all I love you.
We don't love you.
Bye.